All right, so we're going to look at adding integers this time. And I'm going to go over two different ways that we can do this. So again, we're going to look at these two different ways. The first way, or way A, that we're going to talk about is we're going to start at the first integer. So we're going to look at the first integer. And from there, we're going to look at what the sign says. So if the next number, or if we're adding a positive number, we're going to go right. And I'm talking about on a number line. And you'll see that when I do an example, because I'm going to do an example using a number line. So we go right. So if adding a positive, we go right on the number line. And if adding a negative, we're going to go left on the number line. So that's one way. So the first way is really using a number line. And it's okay to use a number line. So if it's easy for you or best for you, draw out a number line. That's actually an activity. If we were doing this in school, that's one of our activities that I'd have you guys all create your own number line so that you have one. I recommend you to create one from -25 to +25. And just as kind of reassurance. The second way we're going to look at, or way B, is we're going to use kind of rules. And this is how, like, I add integers, how a lot of people, when they start seeing them, rather than using number lines, these are the rules a lot of people use. So when adding, if they both are the same sign, so both numbers are the same sign, whether they're both positive or both negative, you add the two numbers and then use sign given. So if they're both positive, we add them and the answer will be positive. If they're both negative, we just add the two numbers and the answer would be negative. And again, we'll see an example when we do the example. If they are different signs, so one's positive, one's negative, so if they're different signs, you're going to subtract the two numbers and use sign of bigger number. And you'll see an example of that too. So again, so one number's positive, one number's negative. We're going to subtract the two numbers and then use the sign of the bigger number. And like I said, we're going to do an example and you'll see it in an example. So we have using a number line, and then we have just rules. And again, this is what I do. This is how I add and subtract my integers, is I use my rules. So ideally, this is where hopefully we can get to. If you still use a number line, that's okay. We're working to get ourselves up to being able to use rules. So let's look at an example. So example 1. 2 plus 3. Well, we all know 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3 we know is 5. But let's use all this stuff that we've done to kind of prove this. All right, and so we're going to do some easy ones just to kind of prove what it is. So if we use the signs things, right? If same sign. So these are both positive numbers. So we're going to add the two numbers, 2 plus 3, which is 5. And then we're going to use sign given because they're both positive. Our answer is positive. We're also going to use a number line, and I'm going to show you how the number line rules work. So we have a number line here. Boom, right here. And so with our rules, it says start at the first integer. So our first integer is 2. So we're going to start here. And then it says, if add positive, go right. If add negative, go left. Well, if we look, we're adding a positive 3. So that means we're going to go right 3 spots. So we're going to go start here at the 2, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3 spots, and we end up at the 5. Okay, so this is using a number line to prove we added a positive, so we go right on the number line. Let's look at example 2. Example 2, we have -2 plus 3. So -2 plus 3. If we look at our rules, same sign or different sign, well, one's negative, one's positive. So we know we're using different signs. So that means I need to subtract the 2 numbers. So I basically just take 3 minus 2. I just do subtraction like how we know how to do subtraction. So 3 minus 2, that would give me 1. And then it says use sign of bigger number. Well, what's bigger, 3 or 2? 3 is bigger. 3 is positive. So my answer is positive. So -2 plus 3 is a positive 1. And we're going to prove that on a number line here as well. All right, so we have our number line. If we follow our rules, we start at the first integer. So the first integer is -2. So I'm going to start at -2. And then I'm going to add 3. Well, 3 is positive, so I'm going to add 3. So I'm going to go right 3 spots. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 spots. And that ended at positive 1. So by using a number line, I confirm my answer is a positive 1. Again, we started at the first integer, -2. I'm adding a positive, so I'm going right on the number line. And that gave me a positive 1. All right, so let's look at example 3. -2 plus -3. Well, let's use the rules. So we're going to use these rules here. Do they have the same sign or different signs? Well, this one's negative. This one's negative. So that means they have the same sign. They're both negative. So let's just add the 2 numbers. So ignore the signs right now. Ignore them. Well, 2 plus 3 we know is 5. And then we're going to use the sign given. Well, what is the sign given? What is the sign of both of them? They're both negative. So my answer is negative. So that's how you use the rules. You just got to look to see, are they the same sign, different sign, boom, 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 boom. Okay. And then we're going to also use the number line to show us on the. All right, so on our number line, if we remember from the rules, we start at the first integer. So our first integer is -2. So we're going to start here. And then we're going to add -3. Well, if we look back at our rules, we're adding -3, so we're adding a negative. We're going to go left. So we're starting at -2. We're going to add -3. So we're going to go 3 spots to the left. So ready? It goes 1, 2, 3 spots to the left. We end up at -5 as our answer. So this just confirmed -2 plus -3 is -5. So remember, start at the first integer, -2. We're adding a -3. Because we add a negative, we go left. And example 4. Example 4, we're going to go 3 plus -5. So 3 plus -5. Well, let's use our rules. Are they the same sign or different? Well, this one's positive, this one's negative, so that means they're different signs. So since they're different signs, we're going to subtract the 2 numbers. So we're going to do 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. And then we're going to use the sign of the bigger number. Well, 5's bigger than 3, and 5 is negative, so it will be a -2. So 3 plus -5 is -2. And we're going to use a number line to confirm. So we have our number line. So remember, with number lines, we start at the first integer. Our first integer is 3, so we're going to start at 3. And then we're going to add -5. Well, if we remember, looking at our rules, look back at the top, if adding a negative, we're going to go left. So we're going to go left 5 spots. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we end up at -2. So this confirmed on our number line, 3 plus -5 is a -2. So I gave you 2 different ways. You can use a number line. So we can use a number line, or we can use the rules. Our goal is to get to be able to use rules, but if you have to use a number line, use it. And again, I recommend you to create a number line that you won't lose to use this. Well, or to use this, to help yourself out. So create a number line, all right? You know, you've got time, you're at home. Create a number line for you to use. And there's one thing we do need to understand, and that is what's called opposites. This is the last thing for your notes. Opposites are numbers whose sum means answer to an addition problem, is 0. So some examples of these. So 4 and -4, those are called opposites. 5 and -5, those are called opposites. All right. This is an and symbol. Sorry, it's a little kooky. So basically, opposites are the positive and negative version of each other. Opposites are also known as additive inverses. And that's something you'll need to know for Algebra 1, is understanding about what's called additive inverses. So hopefully you got this. Remember, you want to write your notes down so that you can keep them, so that when we continue to work on some practice stuff,